So anyway, I was asked to give this presentation on why I chose to be a rocket scientist, and I hope it'll be motivational for you to choose what you want to do. When I was a child, when I was very young, my father took us to this radio control field where we watched a bunch of airplanes fly around. And the weirdest thing I saw was, here was Snoopy in a flying doghouse chasing the Red Baron. Can you believe that? This was in real life. This wasn't in a cartoon. And that same day, there was also this airplane dropping bubble gum over us. That was just the wildest thing. So later on, my father took us on a vacation to Cape Canaveral, and we got to watch the launch of Apollo 8, which was the first mission to orbit the moon. It was on December the 21st, and I was about 5 years old at the time. Then we got to watch Apollo 11, and here's, let's see, the moon landing was at, Dad went and bought a color TV for this. Moon landing was at 3:17 p.m. on Sunday, July the 20th. Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon at 9:56. And then he and Buzz Aldrin walked around for about 2.5 hours picking up rocks. Then the LEM left the moon at 12:54 on Monday, and then Dad let us stay up and watch all of it on TV. I was 6 at the time. Now this is a video. The audio may not be so great.
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff of Apollo 11. Shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right level. 30 seconds forward drift. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys.
Armstrong is on the moon. Neil Armstrong, 38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon. On this July 20th, 1969.
That's one small step for man. One giant leap for mankind. That was beautiful video. And it was a stunning beauty all its own. It's like under the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here. Beautiful, beautiful. Isn't that something? I never supplied that item. I kept this in that later. Tranquility Base, uses guidance recommendation, uses pings, and you're cleared for takeoff. Roger, understand. Number 1 on runway. 7, 5, 6 on benefit. Beautiful. Very smooth. Very quiet ride.
Okay, well, I thought it was motivational. So at the end of the Apollo program, along came the shuttle program. And they were gonna, they built a test shuttle. It was originally gonna be named Constellation, but I don't know if you recognize these people here. Is anybody a fan of Star Trek in this room? Do you recognize anybody in this picture?
The Uhuru? Is it Uhuru?
Uhuru, Sulu,
Sulu, yep.
McCoy, Chekhov. And back, yeah, that's Mr. Scott there. And this is Gene Roddenberry here.
Nice.
And this is, I think, the current administrator for NASA. So, anyway, they did a campaign to get the constellation renamed to the Enterprise. And everybody else wrote in and it got changed to the Enterprise. So, the Enterprise was a non-powered test vehicle. This is the one that they released from the top of the 747 and it glide back to the runway. So it was never a powered shuttle. So anyway, that one came to Huntsville. It left Dryden Research Center and then came to Huntsville. You can see here where they were pulling it. I don't know, are y'all familiar with the arsenal out there in NASA?
Oh, yeah.
And Rideout Road? Well, this is Rideout Road and they're towing it down Rideout Road to this, this is called the Vehicle Dynamic Test Stand. I don't know, if you look out towards the arsenal, it's the tallest building. And basically it's empty on the inside. And they put stuff in there and they do what's called modal testing, where they induce vibrations, things like that. Well, my dad let us see all of this stuff. And, you know, it's impressive. So, then on April 12, 1981, was the launch of STS-1. I was a senior in high school. So now I think there's another video following this one.
An idea born in unsettled times.
Are going forward. America, the United States, is first in space.
Becomes a feat of engineering excellence. The most complex machine ever built to bring humans to and from space and eventually construct the next stop on the road to space exploration.
Request to take the radio comm sign Alpha.
As 30 years of flight draw to a close, its legacy is one of unsurpassed achievement. NASA's Space Shuttle. Space Shuttle Endeavour is rolling out to Launch Pad 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Okay, this is a little dated.
In 24 missions, flown over 20 years, Endeavour has logged more than 103 million miles in space. The last of NASA's shuttles to be built, Endeavour prepares for her final flight, STS-134. Endeavour's 6 astronauts have trained for this mission for years. Well before any shuttle reaches the launch pad, however, a staggering amount of work is required. The parts, plans, and people necessary to make each launch span the entire nation.
You've got all these people, all these folks that are in their 20s, some of them in their 30s, and they are, no kidding, in charge of some part of the space shuttle, some part of the space station, or some part of the plan. And every one of those people absolutely believes that they are the one that makes the difference on getting those astronauts back down to the ground alive.
At NASA's Mission Assembly Facility in New Orleans, production begins on the shuttle's external fuel tank. The last of 136 produced here since 1973. Around the same time, in Clearfield, Utah, technicians at ATK Launch Systems start work on the shuttle system's solid rocket motors, or boosters. Unlike the orange external tank that is used only once, the boosters detach themselves and parachute into the Atlantic Ocean. They are then retrieved, refurbished, and reused on later missions. The shuttle mission's crew is assigned. Right up until launch, a shuttle crew will train in a variety of critical regimens, some basic, others specific to their mission. Simulators, safety and contingency, science experiments, and underwater in the world's largest indoor pool. 1 month later, the ET is mated to the solid rocket boosters to form the backbone of the stack. Now, all that's missing is the spacecraft itself. Looking now much like it will lift off, the space shuttle is carried to the launch pad atop the 6 million pound crawler transporter at a blazing pace of less than a mile an hour. Not exactly warp speed.
At our peak carrying full load, we get right around 38 feet per gallon.
Not too bad for a original 1965 hybrid vehicle with low miles. The 3.4-mile journey takes up to 6 hours. Now on the launch pad, the orbiter is ready to take on its main payload. Testing assures that the multi-ton cargo is secure and safely stowed in the payload bay before the technicians certify the orbiter is ready for launch. Flying T-38 aircraft from Ellington Field in Houston, the crew members arrive at Kennedy's shuttle landing facility.
This is the NTD conducting the launch status check. All stations verifying ready to resume count and go for launch. OTC, OTC go. TVC, TVC go. ETC.
After nearly 3 years, hundreds of thousands of hours logged by engineers, technicians, scientists, seamstresses, electricians, and other program workers across the globe.
We have made it to the start. 2, 1. Booster ignition.
The shuttle makes its way skyward. At liftoff, 6.6 million pounds of thrust begin hurtling the vehicle and crew at speeds that'll reach 17,500 miles per hour. The shuttle is like no other machine ever built. For its launch to succeed, more than 1 million parts must move together perfectly. How this engineering marvel came to be is an amazing story that begins in the early 1970s. A new mission is sought for NASA to send humans into space. But Mars, for many the next logical step on the path of exploration, is dismissed as too costly, a destination for a country preoccupied with events back on Earth. Instead, on January 5th, 1972, another destination is selected. Low Earth orbit.
President Nixon really liked the idea and told the NASA administrator, go do it. And the NASA administrator got a call from OMB the next morning, someone there, and said, hey, what the president really meant to say was, you're going to get this much money, and so do as best you can with the space transportation system. And our choice, logically, was we have to have a vehicle first, and so that was the birth of the space shuttle as the first in the 3-part space transportation system.
Many designs were considered. Often, they combined the best features of different concepts. One